Welcome to the first installment of the developer's log for the game, For Love of the Void. At its heart, the game is a solo RPG that asks the AI to do part of a game master's job, the voice, the color, the reactions, and refuses to let it do the part where the rules live. Before we start, a quick disclosure. The voice you are hearing and, more obviously, the face you are seeing are both machine-generated. This is the game's own text-to-speech. But like everything the AI touches in this project, this voice is not off the shelf. It was crafted with care with the aim of creating a very specific vibe. I'm acutely aware that AI is increasingly being used for many horrific things in the real world. Here, I hope to use it to bring something magical to life. There is a rule at the heart of For Love of the Void design that I care about more than almost anything else. The AI tells the story, but it does not get to decide what actually happens in it. When you make a check, when a fight turns, when a negotiation cracks someone's nerve, that is settled by rules running in code. The same way a table full of humans would settle it, with dice and a book, not by whatever the storyteller feels like saying. For most of the spring, one corner of that aspiration was quietly a lie. The AI was the source of truth for things it had no business owning. Who was in the room, what they wanted, what happened 3 scenes ago. The engine would write the story, and then read its own story back to work out what was now true. In July, I changed that. The world kept forgetting itself. A character's shifting mood lived in a scratch list that got wiped every time the scene changed. A promise made, a thread left hanging, a secret revealed. All of it lived in the last few lines of prose, and anything older just fell off the back of the truck. The clearest example is a bug I went digging into. The old code tracked where people were by scanning the story for words like enter and arrive. It went about as well as you would guess. Enter matched the word carpenter. Arrive matched a message arriving. And your own line, you enter the room, could drag a long-departed character right back into the scene, just because their name sat in the same sentence. So an ally you left behind in another city would suddenly teleport into the room because the narrator mentioned them in passing. And here is the nasty part. Once the bookkeeping decided they were present, it told the AI with total confidence that this person was standing right there. The teleport became true. The AI was not hallucinating a ghost. The plumbing handed it a lie and politely asked it to make the lie make sense. The real fix is not a cleverer prose scanner. It is to stop mining the story for truth at all, and to be clear about who gets the final say. Now, every time the AI narrates, it also hands back a short, structured note. It's written in JSON, the plain, machine-readable format programs use to pass facts to each other without ambiguity. A tidy, labeled summary of exactly what changed, who moved, whose feelings shifted, which promises are now on the table. That note is the truth. The story, translated from JSON into flowery words, is just the pretty version of it. That truth now lives in permanent records, not a disposable list. And old facts are kept forever, because a slow-burn promise made 10 scenes ago should be allowed to pay off, not quietly expire. The old guessing step did not get fired. It got reassigned to fact-checking. It still runs, but now it just flags where its answer and the AI's note disagree. That one idea, that the record and not the story is what's true, shaped most of the month. The game learned to track where people and places actually are. It learned to reach for the right piece of setting lore based on what is happening, and death stopped being a wall. A character who dies now gets routed through a transmigration facility and comes out the other side as a continuation of who they were, carrying their goals and their relationships forward, but possibly in a very different body. Next time I'll be talking about the resource system. Right now, trying to make something or get your hands on what a scene calls for too often runs into a wall of closed doors. I want building and acquiring things to feel like an adventure full of quirky characters and small negotiations, the way it does at a good table. Instead of the current exercise, in Nope, and after a month like July, the foundation is finally solid enough to build it on. Now comes the fun part.